Hey crafty friends, I'm back with a process video. This is for the Hip Kit Club design team, and this is my second project using the super fun November kits. And my assignment for this project was twofold. It was a main kit only assignment, which I'm actually really starting to enjoy. When I first started doing the main kit only assignments, I was always a little bit like disheartened because I just like, I can't do layouts without mixed media, and then I've been playing with a few more textures and now it's super fun. So it was a main kit only assignment. My assignment was to make a wreath design and then also to tell some sort of story about family or gratitude. And again, I'm using the November kits. So I did a few things before I started filming. One, because I stitched these circles and it took me 3 days to stitch them. I think it took me a total of 2.5 hours to do the hand stitching of the circles, and I cheated a little bit. I actually drew the circles in my Silhouette Studio, and I let the Silhouette Studio do the dashed lines, so I had the holes punched in for it, so I didn't have to like actually punch those lines out myself, because if I had to do that, then it probably would have taken me a week. The other thing I did before I started this layout was one of the cut files that Kim Watson designed is I'm not sure exactly what the term is, but it's not exactly, it's like a background, and the background has leaves, and it's designed that you layer it over like another piece of paper. And so what I did was in the Silhouette Studio, I broke up the cut file by, doing releasing compound path and regrouping, and I pretty much extracted the leaves, and then I cut them out of a few patterned papers. So my stitching I did in pink, yellow, and blue, because if you've seen the November kits, those are like a really strong color palette. It's like pink, yellow, blue, and teal and green. They're beautiful kits, and so I picked those 3 colors and I did my stitching. And then I cut out the leaves in coordinating pattern paper. So if you saw at the beginning of the video, I just did some 6x6 pieces of those pattern papers, put them all on my mat, and then used the Silhouette software to cut out the leaves. So here's my main design. I have a cluster on the top right and a cluster on the bottom left, and I decided to like reinterpret the wreath. I didn't want to go with like a perfect circle of embellishment, so I figured if I used the circle of stitching as a ground, then I could do what I wanted around it and it would still kind of look like a wreath. And then the story I'm telling, my church, they do it very often. They do it once a month, but right around the holiday season, we do a very, very big push to cook and feed the homeless in New York City. So I'm based in Brooklyn, and New York City has a giant homeless population, and so for Thanksgiving and for Christmas, we do these major, giving back projects where everyone cooks and preps food, and we all get on the train and we go to Herald Square and we go to Times Square, which if you're not from the city, those are like the main concentrated areas of homelessness in the city, because that's where the Port Authority is. There's huge bus terminals and train stations, and so we load up our shopping carts with food, load up our shopping carts with like coats and boots, and we walk until we run out. And this is this year will be the 4th year that my family does it. So we do this before we go to our own holiday dinners. I'll go to my mom's house and we'll get up super early and we'll cook and pack it, and then we'll go out and give it out. And it is super rewarding. I firmly believe in giving back first. I firmly believe in paying it forward. And so that's the story I'm telling today. It's a picture of myself and one of our friends with some guys that we found on the street that we gave food to. And so we were like, can we take a photo with you? And they were super happy, super thankful. And so that's the story I'm telling. So now what I did here, this layout isn't terribly complex in terms of execution. There's no like crazy techniques here, but it's easy enough to replicate that I thought it'd be fun to share with you guys. So what I did at the beginning was I kind of arranged my leaves, so you saw how I scattered it out. I wanted this like giant like burst of leaves, and I actually pulled out the acetate leaves that were Hip Kit exclusive that Kimberly designed. So I mixed those in with the paper leaves that I cut out. And so now I have my cluster in the top right, and now I'm working on my photo. So because printed my photo in black and white, I decided I would map my photo on colored cardstock and like pattern papers instead of going with vellum and black and white like I've been doing on my last few layouts, because I thought it'd be fun to just do something interesting and do a little bit more texture. The other thing I decided to do was rip everything. I was like, no straight edges, because I figured this layout was pretty fun, and if there was a place where I could just have a bunch of ripped and jagged edges, this would be it. The other thing I did, because I do not believe in wasting paper, if you ever seen my scrap area, I have a bin full of paper scraps. I don't throw anything away. And it's gotten to the point where it's like, Tazhiana, you can afford to throw away this like 2x2 square of paper. You don't need to hoard everything, but I do anyway. And so since I had those 6x6 pieces that I cut the leaves out of, they still had borders on them. And honestly, when you're matting a photo layout, you don't need a ton of paper. So I used those scraps. And then I ripped up the edges. I camouflaged the bits of paper that were missing. So what I did my layering, instead of doing like complete rectangles, I did like a corner here, a corner here. And so you just get little peaks of color. And then also, because I used the same papers that I cut my leaves out of, everything matches. Like I don't have to worry about, you know, matching this yellow to this yellow or this pink to this pink. Everything matches because it all went together. And the papers in the main kit were so pretty. Like I loved the October kits because I was like, oh, bright colors. And then I got to the November kits and it was all pastels and like warm, rich tones. And if you know anything about me as a scrapbooker, warm pastels and neutrals are that's my go-to. Like I'll do, you know, some rainbows and I'll do some bright layouts, but my go-to is like warm yellows and pinky corals and teals. So when I opened this kit, I was super excited. And then on top of that, the main kit challenge was fun because there wasn't like a conventional ephemera pack in the main kit. So there weren't like, you know, the die cuts that I'm used to covering my phone, you know, my layouts with. I'm covering my phone because I'm looking at my phone. There wasn't like a traditional ephemera pack that I'm used to like covering my layouts in, so it gave me a little bit of room to like stretch, which is why I did those die cutting leaves and I pulled out those acetate leaves, and I actually think the overall layout comes out really, really nicely. Now I have to warn you, my camera died right in the last 5 minutes of filming, so you'll see that this video goes up to the last bit, and then if you'll see in the still shots, there's a few things I did, and I'll walk you through what I did towards the end of the video when I realize that things are wrapping up. But now I'm just clustering on the left side of my photo. So my plan was to follow the curve, if that makes any sense. So follow the top curving away from the photo and the bottom curving away from the photo. And then I just did the exact same thing that I did on the top side. It was just like pick and stick. Like if I had stopped to think about it, this layout, I gotta tell you, is almost real time. I think the complete footage of this video was like 33 minutes long. I mean, to be fair, the hand stitching did take a fair amount of time, but that's something you can do in preparation. But once you actually sit down to create this is not a hard page to create. So I hope you give it a shot. Like, you know, do your hand stitching on, or if you are good at machine stitching in a circle, machine stitch in a circle. I can barely machine stitch in a straight line. Like, props to Missy Whitten, who is like the goddess of machine stitching, because that lady like does the most amazing things with the sewing machine. I never learned how to sew when I was younger, so I can barely do a straight border, but I can hand stitch. And so I did the hand stitching in front of the TV every night when I came home from school. I'd pick it up and I'd do one circle and then I'd go to bed. And it was actually a really fun and therapeutic project to come home and, you know, hand stitching for me is really therapeutic. That's why I do embroidery hoops and all that other stuff. So this is a really easy layout to try, and I hope you are inspired by this and you try it, especially if you have the main kits, because you have everything you need for this. So now I have all my leaves stuck down, and I pull out this Heidi Swap cardstock stickers. This is obviously in the main kit because this is a main kit only video, and I pull out those two label stickers, and one says love this and one says noteworthy. And the reason I went with the noteworthy is because it has gold, and I knew that I was going to eventually use gold on my title, so I'm trying to make sure I introduce the gold in a way that makes sense instead of just plonking down this giant gold sticker at the end of the layout. And this is something I do often, which is tucking labels or like tab stickers in between my paper layers. I just think they look fun peeking out between the layers, and you still see the colors of the layers, but it's like a little spark of interest. So now I'm like messing around. Do I add more stuff? Do I add more stuff? And I decide to keep going. So now I think I work on my title. I'm pretty sure I work on my title. Yes, I stick down my photo, and then I work on my title. So my title is Love Giving Back, because that's what my story is. And what I've been doing recently is doing the journaling on the back side of my layouts, just because I can't ever find like a good place to tuck journaling in where it doesn't look super intrusive. Intrusive? I guess intrusive. It just looks like it's in the way. Tazhiana fails at grammar tonight, so it just looks like it's in the way. So I've been doing my journaling on the back, but I thought Love Giving Back was a great title. So I used these Hip Kit exclusive blue alphas. I love the font on these. They're really long and skinny, and so you can do really long titles. Like I'm a fan of a chunky alpha as much as the next girl, but when it comes to like having a longer title, long skinny alphas like this are perfect. And so again, I put down my stickers and I kind of stagger them. And then the next thing I do is I go into the foam. They're gold foam thickers from the Pebbles and Jen Hadfield Along the Way collection. And they're like the phrases, but they're huge. Like most of them are full 6 inches across. Like you'll see them here. Most of them are the full 6 inch across. They're giant. And so I go with the Love and I put it on top of the Giving Back. And now there's my title. And I'm really enjoying mixing fonts for titles recently. That's not something I've done before, but now that I have the access to the kits and there's so many alphas and phrase stickers, like Kimberly typically gives us a mix in the kits. So I've been mixing and it's really fun. And so now what I'm doing is adding more of that foam, because now I had everything nice and flat. Like I had the acetate that was pretty flat and I had the paper that was pretty flat. And now I introduced this new texture. And so my thought process was to balance it out, introduce it everywhere else. So there are these like leaf spriggy things that are in that sticker pack and they work perfectly mixed in with my leaf. So I add about 6 of them. Yeah, 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom, 2 in the photo cluster. And this is where everything goes south. So I'm going to talk through what I did while you're watching me stick things down. I added some enamel dots and then I decided I wanted to add like a border type situation to the layout. So I trimmed a little bit off the top, trimmed a little bit off the bottom, and then I added a striped pattern paper. It was from the Heidi Swapp Emerson Lane collection. And then the other thing I did was right on the top right cluster in the center of those leaves, I didn't like how bare it was, so I took a cardstock sticker from the Heidi Swapp the Heidi Swapp cardstock stickers, and put that on top of it. And then I added 2 phrase stickers that say, "Always remember this moment." And that completes the layout. So I'll let you finish watching me right up until the video cuts off. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head to the Hip Kit shop to grab a kit of your own. I hope you all enjoy your Thanksgiving, enjoy time with your family and friends, and don't forget to celebrate gratitude every single day, and make time for yourself and to make something pretty. And that's all I have for you today. So I hope you enjoyed. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, friends, keep it crafty and have a great day. And for real, happy Thanksgiving, friends. I am thankful for all of you.